Okay. But also, if it's overcooked, it sticks, so it's not a very good way, and I don't think you want to dirty all the walls of your house, like trying spaghetti. So, usually the inside of the pasta should still be a bit crunchy. You sieve it. When you prepare the sauce, you do leave it a bit soupy, like a bit liquid. Because once you sieve the pasta, you just put it back in the pan, you add the sauce, and you let it absorb from the pan cooking, like so that the tomato sauce will get inside the pasta, and it will get dry but tasty. Because otherwise, if it's dry but because there is not enough sauce, it's a bit tasteless. So this is the way that professional cooks, but also my grandma do it. And if you're a professional, you can just have these big pans, like the pasta jump, it's like, well, just impressive. It's like people that turn the omelets like this, and I hate them so much. I always fry the omelets.
Is this a kind of food that the Romans eat? This is Middle Age.
It's more Middle Age. It's like Romans, for what I know, yes, it can be alright. Like these things should be minced completely, but I mean we don't have enough time to do everything.
No, I think like
the
leaves are better to be gutted if they are big.
Anyways, this is the optimal way of doing it, and then you can always adapt it to your needs. So once it's processed, at this stage you should add the parmesan and stir it. But since I don't like parmesan, I didn't bring it. And well, it can work also without parmesan. Some people from Genova also, instead of using parmesan, which is like kind of a mild taste, use goat cheese or sheep cheese, which is like a bit more flavory. It's also alright. It should get very like homogenized. Here you can see there are still pieces, but because it needs energy and time, and possibly something without the corners inside, like round. And at this point, you just add raw olive oil. When the meat is pretty brown, this should be the moment in which either you add the glass of wine, if you want, possibly red wine. So when the meat is already kind of cooked, you add the red wine. If you add the red wine, you let it be absorbed. If you don't add the red wine, you just add the tomato sauce.
So tomato sauce replaces red wine?
Replaces? No, like if you add the red wine, you wait until it gets dry, and then you add the tomato sauce. If you don't want to add the red wine, you just add it straight away.
Oh, it's optional.
Yeah, it's optional. You can also dilute a bit the tomato sauce with the hot water if you want, or add a bit of water later, because like this kind of tomato sauce is pretty thick. So there is a bit of water left in the pot from the cookies, but I don't think it's enough. So I'm just gonna let it cook for 2 minutes and then add a bit of water. From this moment, it should cook for 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. Very low flame, just covered and stirred once in a while. This is why it's better when you prepare it, to prepare it like a big quantity. They also said that the biggest you quantity, the best it gets. I don't know why. Maybe it's just superstition, like, and it's just a belief. But like if you prepare a big quantity, it's worth it, and then you can just store it. The art of making pasta came more from Middle Age. Like the homemade pasta now is considered like typical of Emilia-Romagna, which is like Bologna region. This is like the classical place where you can find still grandmas and mothers sometimes preparing pasta at home with the eggs and everything. On the contrary, the best tradition of industrial pasta, like spaghetti and stuff like this, is from Naples. There are other like variants, if you want to call them like this. One is, for example, to use crumbs of bread and the parmesan and eggs, mix them together, and then pass them like into a sieve or something that will make them come out not as spaghetti because the dough is very different. And then you just prepare a chicken soup and you boil them inside. And it's also kind of very nutritious pasta. Then in other regions they prepare like small balls of pasta with meat inside and they boil it in some kind of soups. So it's extremely differentiated. But the most classical ones are the industrial pasta, typical of Naples, and the homemade. They also nowadays make homemade pasta, like egg pasta, industrially, but it's not the same thing because the whole proceeding, like of making the dough manually and then like making it flat with a special wooden cylinder makes the pasta very like porous, and it absorbs the sauce very much. So, see, it's really dry and it shouldn't be that dry, so what we are gonna do is just add a little water.
You can tell it's dry just by looking at it.
It's supposed to be watery. This is like you use fresh tomatoes, which are pretty watery, you don't need to add water anymore. But with like concentrated sauce, because it's concentrated, so it means that the water has been taken away, you need to integrate it somehow. It's better to use the hot water without the texture that it should get at the end. But it gets much redder, like much more red, because like after 2 hours of cooking, everything is very mixed well together. So, let's say that we let it cook for 2 hours at the end. You should get something like this, which is now solidified because like the fat thing, since it's cold, became like hard. What you should do is warm it up.
So after 2 hours, it's like well melted and everything.
Mixed together, yeah.
Maybe
And what you can try and do, it's not very hot. It should be alright. Taste-wise, it's just.
But no, wait, let me remind you that this is something I'm going to tell your class. For sanitary reason, we can't encourage you to eat what we are going to do. But like if you take the risk,
It's on you.
yeah, it's on you. Like I personally am going to take it right now, but like for the rest of you, I wouldn't say. I mean, it's on your like.
You didn't have the time to prepare also the pasta because like you should need at least 2 or 3 stops.
So still at the end.
You want to try also the pesto?
Maybe you didn't put it on.
I did.
Okay.
I did, right? Yeah, you did.
Sorry, I was like thinking about it.
How do you put the pesto into the pasta?
Yeah.
You let that sit, just for 2 minutes, or you just stir it and it's done?
Yeah,
Or how
yeah.
long?
Like you sit the pasta, you put it back in the pan, the pesto. It should be a bit more oily, like put a bit more olive oil. Just 2 minutes. Like let it fry in a way and just take it away and fine.
Same with the bolognese, just for 2
Yeah,
minutes with
yeah.
pasta.
With the bolognese, like if it's supposed to get pretty much the same amount of liquids at the end. So you let it absorb the liquid, and this is why you should take away the pasta from cooking the water before you still here. And when it absorbs the liquid, it's fine. So next time, what we're gonna have next time?
Gnocchi.
Okay. So which is another way of like preparing some sort. It's not pasta because it's made of potatoes and flour and salt and that's it. But it's pretty easy and kind of special. So we'll wait for you next time.
It's really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check always the salt price at the end because when you let it cook, you don't know exactly how much salt needed at the final stage.
Spaghetti alla la cantina di caffè, la mala pena di scappare. Appetito insieme a te, adentro.